Falling for Havoc, a Wattpad novella written by M.E. Randall, Chapter 7.
For a week, Havoc has kept his distance from me. Each morning I lay out his clothes and burn his breakfast before a door in the living room opens all by itself, leading to my office. I sit at my desk, staring at the blank computer screen, waiting for the inevitable chaos that Havoc always brings. As the days pass, I feel a strange emptiness, and he doesn't show up. Without his unpredictable presence, my routine feels dull and lifeless. I glare at his closed office door, my irritation at its peak. This tantrum needs to stop. I push away from my desk and march over to his door. I pound on the dark, solid wood, my knock echoing through this peculiar building. Would you stop acting like a child?
What do you think about a zombie apocalypse?
His voice suddenly asks from behind me, causing me to scream. I turn around to see him leaning against my desk. What? He picks up my stapler and starts to play with it.
A zombie apocalypse for the end of the world? What do you think about that as an option?
I think you've lost your goddamn mind, that's what I think. I mutter as I cross the room and snatch my stapler out of his hand before going back to my chair. He chuckles, pushing himself off my desk.
You sound angry.
You've ignored me for a week. I snap, feeling the frustration bubbling up inside me. You disappear for a week without a word and then come back talking about a zombie apocalypse like it's no big deal? I have to admit, I'm a little hurt. He raises an eyebrow before resting his hand on my desk and leaning in.
I actually hired you for your opinion, Nadine, and I'm asking for it now. So?
I fold my arms and glare up at him. You want my opinion? A zombie apocalypse sounds like a horrible idea.
How so?
He asks. A cherry red leather chair suddenly appears behind him. The lovely material gleams under the warm glow of the overhead light before he sits in it. All the humans turn into walking, rotting corpses, and you're stuck on a planet with the stench of decay hanging in the air and nothing but groaning dead bodies to get in your way when you go to do whatever the hell it is you're going to do when we're all gone, I reply, my arms still folded tightly across my chest. He leans back in the chair, a thoughtful expression on his face.
That's a good point. Then how about a meteor like the dinosaurs?
Redundant. My response is short. I shake my head, feeling frustration creeping in like a spider crawling across its web.
Nadine.
What? I snap, taking him aback. He looks at me with a mixture of surprise and concern, his brow furrowed in confusion. I can see the hurt in his eyes, or at least I think it's hurt. Maybe I'm letting my own emotions get the better of me. You don't get to ignore me for a week and pretend like everything is fine, I tell him. I thought we had... I trail off, blushing when I realize what I'm about to say.
Something special?
Havoc says tauntingly.
You thought we had a deep moment last week. You thought we connected.
I feel my cheeks burn with embarrassment as Havoc's words hit me like a punch to the gut. I let myself believe there was more between us than just a boss and employee relationship. But now, faced with his mocking tone and dismissive attitude, I realize how foolish I am. As I struggle to find the right words to respond, Havoc's smirk grows wider, clearly enjoying my discomfort. But instead of lashing out in anger or retreating in shame, I sit up straighter. I may be your employee, but I am also a person deserving of respect. You will not demean me. I'm also not talking to you about anything else until we talk about what happened last week.
Ah, I see.
He nods.
You've finally come to your senses and realized I'm the cause of all your life troubles. Let's hear it then.
What no? I mean dropping me like an old hat back to my room 5 feet above my bed. It might have softened the landing, but it still wasn't pleasant. I gripe. Havoc shakes his head and frustratingly gnaws on his lip.
You just don't get it.
What don't I get? I throw my hands out in frustration.
I hate my job.
He booms. The office falls as silent as the grave. Havoc sinks into his chair as his gaze shifts to the tinted window.
I hate my entire purpose of being.
My heart wrenches, hearing the words pour from his lips. He slowly gets up from his chair, looking like the weight of the world is weighing on his shoulders.
That'll be all for today, Miss Vaughn. You can head home.
He starts to head for his office. I bound from my chair and chase after him. Havoc, wait! I grab hold of his arm, making him turn towards me. Ask me why I thanked you last week.
I'm not playing this game, Nadine.
He growls, clearly not in the mood for antics, but he will hear me out on this. Ask me, I say more firmly.
Fine, why?
After my mother's and my home burned down, you're right. We lost everything, all out memories. So Mom decided we were going to make all new ones. We spent the entire year after that filling our calendar with picnics, museums, amusement parks, and every other fun thing we could think of. That year after we lost the house was the best year of my life. After that, Mom got sick, so those moments became even more precious. I watched my mom fight a giant while caring for me, proving to me that I could do anything because I am the daughter of a warrior. My eyes sting with tears of pride. When my voice hitches, I force myself to keep going. While going through her battle, I met my best friend, Emily. Both our moms were fighting cancer at the same time. We met during their treatments, and unfortunately, both our moms lost their battle. Yes, I wish my mom was still here. But through her loss, I found Emily, a person whose relationship transcends beyond friendship, because we know each other's pain. My grandparents might have passed away, and though I would have rathered of them be here, I was able to go to college because of the foundation raised in their honor. So yeah, my voice quivers as I try to stay strong. My life might be more thorns than roses, but I've learned to cherish those sweet roses while they bloom. I might have lost a lot in my life because of you, but I've also gained so much. Silence falls between us. His eyes search my gaze. In one swift movement, he engulfs me in his arms, crashing his lips against mine. Energy grows between us with each passing moment, turning into a towering flame of chaotic passion. The way his lips dance across mine fans the flame of desire smoldering deep within my soul. Time stands still as the passion unlocks something deep within me, something primal and untamed. I feel myself surrendering to the moment's intensity, allowing myself to be consumed by the fire that burns between us. His touch ignites a hunger within me, a hunger for more of him, for more of this electrifying connection that pulses through every fiber of my being. As our bodies press together, I can feel his heat radiating off of me, matching the heat coursing through my veins. Our breath mingles in the space between us, creating a symphony of desire that echoes in the depths of my soul. I lose myself in his embrace, letting go of all inhibitions and allowing myself to be consumed by the flames of passion that threaten to consume us both. As we finally break apart, breathless and exhilarated, I know that this connection is something otherworldly. There is something different inside me, something different about me, but I'm not sure what. It's as if we are two halves of the same whole, drawn together by an invisible force, and this connection fuses us. In his eyes, I see a reflection of my desires and fears, a mirror to my soul that both terrifies and excites me. Havoc looks as confused as I feel, but where my excitement buds and wants to explore more, terror litters his face. He takes a hearty step back, shaking his head.
Leave.
He orders. I reach out a hand towards him, pleading silently for him to face his feelings. Havoc's eyes soften momentarily like he wants to give in, but quickly hardening again.
I said leave.
He repeats, his voice firm and commanding. Just before my hand reaches him, he cuts me a dark glare.
Leave, Nadine.
I jerk my hand back as if his words slapped it away. He's gone before I can say anything and beg him to talk to me. In an instant, the space he occupied is empty, and I'm left alone in front of his office door. The weight of his absence leaves a physical ache in my chest. I know he's pushing me away to protect himself from whatever demons are haunting him, but I can't just walk away. Not when I can see the pain etched in every line of his face. I'm determined to find a way to break through his walls and show him that he matters not only to me, but to the world. Without the lows, the world would never appreciate its highs. Though I know I shouldn't, I reach out and open the door to Havoc's office, praying that I don't fall through space. Even if I do, maybe it'll bring him back here to rescue my ass. When the door flies open, I'm met with a vast open room that looks like an endless still lake under a sunrise sky. The water on the floor is a perfectly smooth mirror. It's not something I'd expect in any part of Havoc's madhouse. This room is so welcoming. I step inside, hoping he's in here. The water beneath my feet doesn't ripple in a typical way. Instead, a ripple starts from my toes and leads off like arrows guiding me down a path. I gather my courage and follow after it, walking until I get to a mirror reaching high into heaven. When I get close, my reflection fades to where I'm almost transparent, and a room behind the mirror comes into view. I gasp when I realize that it's my grandparents' funeral. The two closed caskets sit side by side with my mother's head bowed. Tears fill my eyes as I scan the room, looking for my teenage self. I find myself tucked in a corner of the funeral home, trying to dry the river of tears pouring down my face.
Who's the girl?
The voice next to me startles me out of my trance. I look down to see a young boy, no older than 8, standing beside me. A dark blue jacket hugs his tiny, frail body. His little hands remain tucked behind his back as he watches the teenage version of me. I notice that there isn't a single hair follicle on his head, not even eyebrows. Me, I softly answer. My gaze turns back to myself. It was a significant moment in my life.
Why?
I pause momentarily, trying to find the right words to explain to this young boy. Because it was the first moment the fragility of life sunk in. It was the day I realized my grandparents were really gone, and that I would never let anyone important to me slip through my fingers again. As I speak, memories flood back. The sound of my grandmother's laughter, the smell of my grandfather's pipe smoke. I remember the pain of their loss and the regret of not cherishing every moment with them while they were still here. The small boy tilts his head to look at me. When our eyes connect, I step back in shock. Instead of normal eyes, I stare into two orbs, each containing a swirling galaxy. "What are you?" I gasp.
Thank you for listening to Chapter 7 of Falling for Havoc. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and hit the bell for more notifications. You can find Falling for Havoc at Wattpad.com or on the Wattpad app. Search for my username, reading_mermaid08.